Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend Matt.
Hello, Chris. It's me, the normal Matt, that with the lower voice.
Wow.
We also have a guest. It's Walsh.
Hi. It's me, Matt Walsh.
Well, can I
I'm
just
here
say,
with my friends Chris and Matt.
Can I just say, guys, perfect impersonations, just on this, absolutely top notch. I could not tell the difference just now.
What do you mean impersonations?
What do you mean?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy in my mind.
Quick,
anyways,
ask me something that only Matt Walsh would know.
What is the normal health of a beholder?
130.
You know what? I just realized you guys are both very in tune with Dungeons and Dragons, so I already
You know what else you just realized, Chris?
Yeah.
How do you know? How you gonna fact check?
Do you know?
I don't know at all.
Exactly.
But it just depended on the confidence in your voice, Walsh. And you proved to me that you are the real Walsh at the end of the day.
I can't do this anymore. It's getting too confusing.
That was weird.
That was extremely weird. It was like Freaky Friday stuff. Welcome everybody, including one Walsh, who is here joining us because we have a lot to talk about.
Two Walsh.
With about the VBBFL, because we're going to be getting started soon in terms of getting prepped for a potential season 3. And so we wanted to have a sit-down conversation with both the two hosts and the architect, and also someone who has been participating as a general manager in the league. And so we're going to have that conversation. But before we do that, it has been a big day in the NFL, a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to do a quick recap of Week 8, and then we're going to jump right into the trade deadline, which is probably the biggest trade deadline that we have ever seen.
It's some wild shit.
It's some wild shit indeed. And of course, we'll do our picks at the end of the show, also joined by Walsh in that front. What we're going to start first is the Week 8 recap, and quickly just kind of go through the 3 games that we usually spotlight, starting with our game of the week, and it's Panthers at Falcons. This game was incredible. It had the two teams traded 10 scores in a row at one point. It ended after the Panthers got a touchdown, and then the Falcons ended up scoring very quickly after that. And then at the start of the Panthers drive, I think it was a fumble or a PJ Walker interception that got the Falcons in good territory to kick a field goal, extended the game to a 6-point lead. And it felt like the Panthers were doomed. 23 seconds on the clock. Things were looking very bleak. They were deep in their own territory. But what happens? A PJ Walker Hail Mary to DJ Moore, and it was an incredible sight. And it was a tied game, and all they needed was an extra point, but Eddie Pinheiro missed it, so he went to overtime.
So the important thing to note is that he missed it because the extra point was moved back.
Oh yes,
because
that's
DJ
right.
Moore took his helmet off in the touchdown celebration.
Right, which is apparently a no-no, which is just annoying, but whatever, it's fine. The extra point was missed, and we went to overtime, and the Panthers at one point intercepted Mariota, and it seemed like they were in a good shot to kick a field goal to win the game. And then Eddie Pinheiro also missed that. And then the Falcons marched down at the end of the game, and with the more reliable Young Waiku kicked the field goal to win the game. The Falcons won. Matt, both of us picked the Panthers to win this game. I chaosed the Panthers, and this was a heartbreaker.
It was so close.
So close.
So close.
Yeah. But the Panthers have been competitive through 2 games of PJ Walker. So does that give you any hope for the season to be just be interesting at least?
I think interesting for sure, and just I think that PJ Walker playing good is just a fun thing for the league.
Mm-hmm.
Got this guy who was the star of the XFL, now is like playing pretty good football at the NFL level is just a cool story, cool thing that is happening.
Yeah, 100%. I think that they are the story of this game, even though the Falcons are the ones that walked away with the victory. Once again,
The first place Atlanta Falcons.
Which that's even more insane to think about. But yes, the Falcons are in first place somehow, some way. The blowout of the week. So I failed my chaos, but boy howdy, I failed harder at my guarantee. The Raiders were goose-egged. It was 24-0 was the final score against the Saints. And that was a blowout for sure. I'm kind of done calling the Raiders better than their record at this point.
No, they kind of suck, and I don't think Josh McDaniels is a good head coach. I don't think anyone in the Bill Belichick coaching tree is a good head coach except for Brian Flores.
Yeah, it's very bizarre, very weird situation going on there. But I would like to think that maybe without Darren Waller, maybe that was a factor. I don't know what
I don't think it's that much of a factor.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just a whole weird situation for the Raiders. So they're kind of messy, and the Saints, they did something in this game that should be, maybe their defense is actually going to be good for the rest of the way we thought they were going to be good. Who knows? Yeah. And the chaos of the week. I had 2 games to choose from. I opted to do Bengals at Starfish, because I think everyone after last week kind of felt like, hey, the Bengals are back. They're ready to go. They're unstoppable. And then
no Jamar Chase.
Yeah. And then Cleveland kind of just took advantage of the fact that the Bengals still have a shitty offensive line. Rough game if you're actively rooting against the Starfish for hiring a sex offender at this point as your quarterback. But you know what? It is what it is.
There's still the chance that he sucks.
That's the only thing that we can hang our hat on, hopefully. But all right, that's week 8. I mean, there's some other interesting game action, but we'll talk about it when we get to our actual picks. I want to make sure we get Walsh in here very soon. But we need to talk about this trade deadline because Jesus fucking H Christ. I forget, people always say H. I know people joke it's like Hussein, but like what was the H in Jesus Christ?
I don't think so. I don't think it's anything. I think it's just a joke. That's a middle initial.
Maybe just heckin'.
Middle initial.
Maybe just heckin' or whatever. I don't know.
What does the H in? Oh yeah. If I go, what does the H in G? What does the H in?
Yeah. People say Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I also recognize the Hussein thing is a kind of a racist joke, granted.
Yes.
But that's the first thing I thought of.
Through all of my intensive knowledge and research, and by a quick Google search. Oh, Matt, you might have the same thing up. Go ahead.
You go. No, you go. You're a new voice.
In partially Latinized form, the component of the H, its origin, that it's the middle initial or Christ's surname, or rather his title. Wow, I'm going to butcher this. Ho Christos, or it would essentially mean like the anointed. And then the precise origins of the letter H in the expression are a bit obscure, though, so it's not completely sure.
Okay, interesting. We've learned something today about the middle initial of our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, listen, all the names are wild. You'd think there was somebody like 2,000 years ago in the Middle East, and they were just Matthew, Mark, and John were just hanging out.
You know what? Yeah, they just decide like, yeah, what if we wrote a book? Like they just get together.
Guys, I have the most epic.
I'm so sorry. I did not realize this was going to become a theology podcast. But anyways, let's talk about the trade deadline. It started earlier last week. In fact, I believe this player traded actually played on Sunday. It's Robert Quinn was traded from the Bears to the Eagles, Now, Matt, I'm going to keep going because there's a lot to cover with the Bears. They did a lot of movement. They then after Sunday's game, after they lost to the Cowboys, they traded Roquan Smith as well to the Ravens, and then earlier today decided, you know what, we're also going to acquire a player, and acquire Chase Claypool from the Steelers. A lot going on there.
Yeah.
From the Bears' perspective, Matt, what do you make of any of it?
So for the defensive players, I get it. They got a really good amount of compensation for those players. Lots of draft picks for rebuilding going towards the future. The Claypool trade surprised me a little bit because it definitely felt like rebuild mode. And I think that the price they paid was a little too high, but I do like it from the sense of let's get Fields, a talented wide receiver, to see if he is anything.
Right.
And I'm going to point to two people to show that how much receivers matter. I'm going to point to Tua to start out, where a couple years ago, Tua was throwing to trash. He had nobody to throw to. Now that he has Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, he's fucking amazing. And this year especially, there's been one game that Tua started that he didn't play well in, and that's the game he almost died in.
Yeah.
He has won every other game that he didn't literally die in because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are fantastic wide receivers. Take a look at Aaron Rodgers, last year's MVP, one of the longest running players in the league, one of the best players in the league, maybe formerly, but has shit at wide receiver.
Right.
Can't do anything. You cannot judge a quarterback's talent without good wide receivers. And I think Claypool is enough of an upgrade in this regard to, I don't know who I said. Did I say Claypool?
You said Claypool, yeah.
Okay. I think Claypool is enough of an upgrade in this regard that you can see what Fields is about potentially more easily. Still need an offensive line, but he at least has someone else who is talented enough to catch the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think you want to see where Justin Fields is at this point, and I think getting him someone that you think can take control of the offense, maybe be a number one wide receiver for the Bears for a little while. Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense in that regard. I love this the defensive players trade, just to look at it from the other side. Like, Eagles didn't need Robert Quinn, but the fact that they got him is dangerous and really fun, though, at the same time. And Ravens, you want to see this Ravens team kind of turn it around and not be so inconsistent. Getting a guy like Roquan Smith on your defense is gonna make that defense a lot more difficult to play against. Roquan Smith has been a star this year. He's been amazing.
He's number one tackler in the league.
Yeah, I just think that is gonna be so huge for them moving forward. So I think I liked all three of these trades. I could understand some hesitancy about compensation with Claypool, but I think at the end of the day, this has to be the evaluation period for Fields. Not that he's going to get kicked off the team immediately or after this year or anything, but you want to see what you have, and the best thing that you can do is give him someone that is actually going to play the position well, and we've seen in the past where Claypool can play wide receiver very well. So, and speaking of the NFC North, another trade that happened was an in-division trade, weirdly. The Lions earlier this year had traded up with where the Vikings were drafting to draft Jameson Williams. This time around, the Lions are trading at one of their pass catchers to the Vikings in tight end TJ Hawkinson. Kind of a surprising move. I mean, maybe not so much the player, but the fact that it was in division.
The in division part is the interesting thing, just because players or teams in division really don't want to give their division mates a leg up. But the Lions don't really have a leg right now, and the Vikings do. And with the Irv Smith difficulties that the Vikings have had, this is a good trade.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think that I was expecting the Lions to do a lot more trading at the deadline based off of the after Hawkinson went. I was like, oh man, maybe they are going to be just selling everything at this point. But maybe that's just like the one player that they're like, all right, let's get some compensation for him now. Maybe down the road maybe down the road we'll do some more exchanging. But I think they also like the core that they have at the same time. Maybe the biggest trade of the day on trade deadline day was Bradley Chubb. He had been in the talks for being traded, and after the Broncos won on Sunday, I was thinking, oh, maybe they won't trade him because maybe they feel like they're still in it. But sure enough, Chubb is now a Miami Dolphin, and in exchange was a bunch of draft picks, which draft compensation, I don't want to get into the weeds of that. Whatever, it is what it is. But the Broncos got running back Chase Edmonds in return as well. So what for the Dolphins, like, huge trade and a sign that they want to win right now.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are back. Even what I just said, the Tua is playing fantastically.
Yeah.
Bolster up that defense a bit. They can make a run. I think that the Dolphins will be second place in the AFC East.
I
think they will pass the Jets.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a really competitive, fun division at this point. I'm curious how things are going to end up, but I think the Dolphins. I would like to see the Dolphins have like another one of those dominant games, but like. Beyond that, I could definitely see them being competitive down the road. Jets also sent the Broncos linebacker Jacob Martin as a potential replacement for Chubb there. So I brought up William Jackson III in the trade deadline conversation, but he did not go to the team I was predicting he would go to. He said the Commanders traded him to the Steelers. Which I don't know. This is a weird one for me. Like, he's a great player, and I'm sure he's going to be great for the Steelers. But I really felt like the trading. I mean, well, granted, they probably would have traded him anyway. But I felt like the Claypool trade was maybe a sign the Steelers were kind of preparing for the future at this point because they've just not had a great season to date. But I don't know. Maybe they shore up their defense, especially their secondary, and this is a great pickup for them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard to imagine the Steelers like making the playoffs or doing anything meaningful this season. So interesting trade for sure.
One last like really interesting trade from today. Calvin Ridley, who has been suspended all year because of the gambling side of things. He is now a Jaguar. The Falcons decided to trade him, and the Jaguars will get to play him at some point next year. And this had a lot of different parameters where how much he ends up staying on the team or playing on the team, or if he gets a long-term deal. All that will depend on how many picks the Falcons get in return, which I think could go up to a second rounder.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on this one? Because I know you were a big Calvin Ridley fan.
I adore Calvin Ridley. I am sad that he's not a Falcon anymore, but he's not getting thrown the ball by Matt Ryan and would not be this year. So I think it's great for the Jaguars going forward. And this is another team that has a nice foundation, still needs to build more on top of it. And this is how you build more on top of it, is get Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, he's gonna be wide receiver 1.
Yep.
For that team at some point. So I like it as a future move. And 4 more trades here. Bills traded for running back Nyheim Hines from the Colts. Dolphins got Jeff Wilson from the 49ers. Falcons got Rashad Fenton, cornerback from the Chiefs. And then the Bills, probably in the move with all their injuries at safety, got Dean Marlowe from the Falcons as well. So lots of trades. Anything that you want to say about any of those trades? I don't really have too much.
Not in particular, just teams bolstering themselves up a little bit.
Yeah, Nyheim Hines is an interesting pick.
Yeah,
for the Bills.
Bills have good running back depth, but this just adds some depth.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna jump into our VBBFL discussion with Walsh. Are you still there, Walsh?
With me. I'm
Yeah.
here.
Cool.
Do you have
All
any
right,
thoughts
just
on
making
any
sure.
trades?
Yeah, any of the trades. Any of the trades do you like?
I'll trade you guys 2 almond joys for a Kit Kat.
Oh fuck yeah, that's
Wait,
that's
who's-
awesome.
who- Am I giving up the Kit Kat? Because I'm not doing that.
Well, I have 4 almond joys here, so whoever wants to.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
make the
no,
deal
no,
with
no.
each of you. I'm not too big on coconut. You know.
I'll take the deal. I'll take the deal. I like Kit Kats, but I would love to have an almond joy.
Oh, sweet. They never break like they do in the commercials, even if I freeze them.
Damn, yeah, liars. All right, we'll talk to you guys after the break. Hi everyone, it's Chris, and I'm back once again to tell you all about Anchor. Anchor by Spotify has actually been the tool of choice for Team Chaos Productions since the moment we decided to get into podcasting. And the biggest reason for this is it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or even your phone. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, but also Apple Podcasts and many more. And best of all, Anchor is free. You do not need to worry about any features being locked out to you. You can get it all if you just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Happy podcasting.
Sick of talking about video games with people who just want to be toxic? Me too. So join us over at the Gaming Coop. We come together each month to talk about what we love about video games. Discussion topics range from our favorite soundtracks to the best relationships between characters. We also have some fun segments in which we play some trivia or build our school of gaming. Find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Game on!
Hey, we're back.
This Kit Kat's really good.
Ah, yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy to have brought you that joy of a Kit Kat. But you don't have to break me off a piece. Don't worry.
There's a Family Guy joke about Joe, the Patrick Warburton guy, eating a Mounds bar every day, which is the almond joy without the nuts.
I saw that clip.
Yeah, it's really stupid out of context, but it makes me laugh every time.
The disappointing thing about mounds, though, because I feel like I would prefer a mound, because I don't mind almonds, but I'm just kind of like, I could also just go with like a chocolate bar with coconut in it. It's dark chocolate, and
Ooh, yeah.
the thing is, like, I don't hate dark chocolate. The dark chocolate's good in some circumstances, but like I just like that milkiness. I like that extra sweetness. The dark chocolate's just too bitter for me sometimes.
I like dark chocolate.
Yeah, again, it depends on the circumstance. Oh, you know what dark chocolate's very good with is salty stuff. Salty, like a salty dark chocolate mix, to me, I think works a lot more than like maybe milk chocolate does.
Yeah, I can see that.
I agree. You know what else dark chocolate's good with?
What's that?
Football!
So, if you're new here, because of course this is new season 4 of VBB.
I knew what's going on.
Matt, I want you to tell the world what VBBFL is. Matt, not Walsh. Matt.
Please
Me.
tell me. I'm new.
Yes.
I don't know what it is.
So the Virtual Volleyball Football League is a fever dream that Chris had a couple years ago. Woke up in
Pretty
a cold
much.
sweat and texted me about it. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But Chris had the idea of like creating teams, our own teams, our own league, and somewhere along the way we came up with the idea of like, oh, we should like populate these teams with like video game characters, and then we roped all of our friends into drafting these teams with video game, and then in season 2 animated characters as well, just to kind of see what happens and figure out what the best way to like craft a team, see their characters interact with each other. And so like every now and then Chris and I will hop on twitch.tv/Team Chaos Productions and simulate all of these games using a tabletop simulator that our friend Mr. Walsh put together.
Yeah. So, I could not have explained it better, Matt. It is a fever dream. I love doing it. It is a lot of work, but I feel like at the end at what's we it took a while for us to kind of get back to finishing the league this past season, and obviously it took almost an entire year to do it, but that's just time, circumstance, and again it's just it is a lot of just like trying to get organized and be able to do like the presentation aspect of it for everyone. But I had so much fun with the playoffs this year, and it just got me excited to like see where we could take the league next, and in terms of ideas of how we could both like kind of rope our friends into doing even more stuff with the league while also not burdening them with more time spent with the league if they don't really want to spend a shit ton of time with us.
No, this is like a once a year commitment we want to ask for them.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's my biggest focus that I want to have for this conversation is like what's the best way that we can make it so that way everyone can have a really fun time with this league, as general managers. But we could also touch on the gameplay elements and how we want to do statting from here on forward. If we want to make any changes, we also don't really need to. And also what kind of characters we want to bring into the league as part of our role-playing shenanigans as well. So all of this is just a conversation about what the future of the VBBFL is. Walsh, taking you off the bench now. You're in play here.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah. Just from your perspective, you could take it from any angle if you want, as someone who's made the rules for the league or as someone who has run a team for the league. Where are you at with this, with our silly concept? Are you enjoying it? Is there anything that you feel like you want to see changed about it? And I please be as blunt as possible.
Sure. I am, and there are certain things where I think I get a little bit lost. Of course, life gets in the way, and either, I'll miss a stream or two, or maybe it's a bit of time before you guys have your next stream, and then before I know it, I'm like, where is my team? What is going on with my team?
Sure.
And of course, you could just say like communication, and me like checking up, and I think it's also on me too for maybe not listening and not, being caught up. But I had an idea for not necessarily how to keep the managers pulled in the entire time, but to keep things really juicy and make things more interesting. I will say, though, I want, in terms of mechanics for the game, I want to ask, because we're going into our third season. First season, I think we felt like defense was a very strong stat. Mm-hmm. So we implemented field goals to bring up the offensiveness as well. So if, you're facing against a team that is a bit more defensively inclined and you are a bit more offensively inclined, you could get some more points through field goals. Do you guys feel like that was a good implement, or do you guys feel like defense is still like rocking the game?
It's interesting because I have thought about this a bit, where I think the way that the game works is that the first roll for each possession is the team that's on offense rolls their offensive stat, the team that's on defense rolls their defensive stat. If the team on offense gets the better number, they have advantage on their next roll, which the next roll is a ball handling roll for the offense. And on defense, I believe it's still the defensive
It is still
stat.
defense, yeah.
Right. What I'm curious about is, did we ever have it where the defense rolls their ball handling check?
We did not.
For their second roll.
And I this may sound weird. I'm a little bit against that.
Sure.
Because I feel like then that way overemphasizes the ball handling stat. Which already has like the ball handling importance on offense, but then also the kicking.
Mm-hmm.
With ball handling, because then that's one check made with offense, one check made with defense, and then two checks made with ball handling every game. Which I know we're already doing 2 for defense, but
Right.
I don't know. I feel like the way that I'm thinking about it in my head, like each of the 3 stats have a certain purpose, have a certain goal in mind for what they want to accomplish, and the defense is trying to stop the offense. And if you do the ball handling stat, really just the offense and defense get relegated to like only the like first roll, and then ball handling is way more important than before. And I feel like teams with higher ball handling will have way more success in scale to how it's been in the past.
All right, then here's my idea. I want to make the idea of maybe field goals a bit more enticing, because it's like, well, do I want to go for a touchdown or a field goal? You'd more likely want to try to go for a touchdown. You know what I mean? Because you're going to get more points that way. Even if you were to go for a field goal, it's like I don't know how much that came up, but I think even just looking at it, it was probably a lot more enticing and a lot more worth the gamble to try to go for a touchdown rather than a field goal.
So we did it. Sorry, I interrupted. Do you want to say it?
No, I probably was going to say the same thing that you were, where the field goals weren't necessarily something that we chose. It was more so when the offense got advantage initially, but then failed against the team's defense the second time around, then the offense would then opt to do a field goal automatically because they had gotten an advantage the first time, but just failed failed that second roll to actually get the touchdown, and so that was their way of getting to that 3 points. If they got disadvantage and then failed the second time, then it was just that they didn't get any score whatsoever. But I am willing to hear out maybe the idea if we could maybe do more field goals regardless.
Okay. I don't think that was an immediate rule, but I do like you guys implementing that, of giving that reward for that good offense to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say actually lowering the DC on the field goals.
I'm okay with that.
So even if if you did really well on your offensive advantage, then what you could do is you could go for that field goal, and then the DC will be something like 6.
Yeah.
Because you did so well, and then you are taking that sacrifice of I won't be going for a touchdown, but it's almost guaranteed points at that point.
I like that, and I feel like it could be a thing where no matter what happens during a drive, that a field goal will always end a drive. Whether it's a successful field goal or not will depend on how close that they get and just how the dice ends up rolling. So like if we decide if you completely fail your drive but you still want to kick a field goal, that could be like we put the number at like 15 or 16 or something really high that they would have to cross that marker to kind of reach that field goal at that point. The one thing I would say to implement, because there's some ways where I feel like if we completely fail, we implement like, oh, this team intercepted or fumbled the ball. I feel like a natural 1 in that instance, or some low number in that way, would be like, oh, they turned over the ball, so they can't even attempt a field goal.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I feel like that's the other way to kind of spin it.
DC 6 is also, I'm going to say it's too low. I'd be okay with DC 8 just because like most kickers have 4 or 5 as their kicking stat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I think that's good.
Yeah, no, I totally fair. That's totally fair. I respect that. Now,
all right. And then I have another idea for something that's completely different.
Please,
that I want to pitch to you guys.
I want to hear it.
So I want to add a little bit of spice. I want to add a little bit of really fucking things up, because we're Team Chaos, and if this is too much, you let me know. Sure. Because sometimes, let's say, oh no, 3 natural ones, we got to change the stats, and maybe sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts, But I have an idea and a bit inspired by, what's new in the football news of this trade or there's drama around this player. I want to implement a table of scandals.
Ha!
Oh my god.
And essentially, each week in the VBBFL, you guys will roll. You'll roll. You have all the teams listed 1 through 12.
1 through 8.
And you
1
roll
through 8.
that.
I'm not
What?
doing 12 teams.
1 through
Jesus
8,
Christ.
sorry.
1 through 8. 1 through 8.
Sorry, my bad. 1 through 8. I don't know why I thought 12 for a minute. And then you roll a d12 to choose
D8.
Then you roll a d12 to choose the player on that team.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, it's D12.
Choose
D12,
the player.
yes.
Choose the player. Okay, yeah, D12.
Yeah, so choose the team, choose the player.
Yes.
Sure.
And then you roll on the table. And I don't want it to be as serious as it seems like a lot of the scandals like to be. Domestic violence, assaults,
Yeah, no,
sexual
definitely
crimes,
not. 100%
DUI.
not.
No.
That would be a turn down immediately.
No. It is like I've been writing down some ideas here already. Like they have taken on an oath of pacifism, so they like their stats are decreased, or they were caught cheating with another character on another team. And it's like, oh my goodness, the scandal. And it's just two random fucking characters. And that has nothing to, that doesn't affect the stats at all. Or it is something like,
fucking fuming right now.
or there is something like, there was a big argument of politics. You see, this character took the stance that toilet paper should be placed with the paper behind, but all the rest of the team argued the opposite. So they're going to be out for a week and then adjust the stats accordingly.
I'm in love with this idea.
I think it's great.
I'm in love with it. I would love it to make it even a little bit more, like, I mean, I know it's not all video game characters. I know we're including animation characters, but I would even just love it to be more like video gamey or like animation
Bonkers.
Bonkers with weird things like, this person's town was just invaded by such and such like crazy villain.
I had a couple ones. Turns out that the character isn't the character. They're a robot lookalike. And so now a couple of their stats are moved around. Maybe they have a little bit more in defense and a little bit less in like offensive ball handling, stuff like that. Or this character has been cloned. Now roll a d12 and replace the rolled character with that clone. Adjust the stats. Now you have two of the same character and you're missing one. Or even they're pregnant. They're going to be out in 3 weeks. They're going to be out for a week.
Sure.
Even if it's
it
a male character.
It does not matter the character. Even if it's a male character,
Especially
they are
if it's a
pregnant.
male character. Nope.
I love
Nope. Don't like that I said that.
Especially if they are a male character. But yeah, and we can even get more bonkers with it too. But you guys roll on that table. Maybe it's something where it is either the character will be, and it could be a bonkers explanation, but it could be something where the character is going to have to be out for a week, or they will take a certain debuff for a couple weeks, and then it's up to the manager to choose, well, which one do I want to do? Do I want to keep them in the game or give them the time to recover?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like with the way that the VBBFL has been run, a lot of the time, the only roster decisions that we end up making is with the kickers. I think that for the most part, and I guess quarterback too, but like we end up just picking we just take okay, here's a character we haven't talked about in a while, let's throw them into this offensive play in terms of just like a audible like inclusion. But for the most part, all this everyone's stats are included in like the total offense, defensive ball handling, and that only gets changed when we do have an injury or when you're like you're saying, like if the stats are weakened or something like that. I fucking love it, and I think it would be great for a where we start the stream and we're like, all right, time to go to our board of scandals or whatever, and it'll be one team, or maybe one or two teams, depending on I guess what the scandal is, but at least one team is affected for that week. Everyone else is not as affected. I will say my only other thing that I would want to implement as well, just because I could see where it could become for people who follow the league intensely in terms of the general managers, I would not want to anger anyone if their team ends up still being the subject for the scandal. So I feel like if one team gets affected by a scandal, they have maybe like a few weeks off from not being part of the scandal board.
Yeah, or even like they can't be like 2 in a row, you know?
Yeah, some sort of implementation like that. I feel like I would absolutely prefer. But beyond that, I'm in love. I think that's an awesome idea. I think a fun way to bring some chaos into it and be a little bit more realistic to the actual football league where everything sucks and it's constantly scandalous.
and there's drama everywhere you look.
100%.
And then at the same time, I think it will also keep managers like, not only will keep pulling the managers in, like, wait, what happened to my team?
Right.
Why is SpongeBob pregnant? I have to make this decision if like they're gonna be out in 3 weeks, or it you know, just to entice people more as well to pay attention. And it's like, yeah, you know, because I think that there's a lot of attention on the football league to begin with. It's like, what? There's all of my favorite characters are being put on a fictional team. That's really cool. And then I think as the season goes on, especially for people who maybe miss the streams, it's like, oh, numbers, teams, things are going on. They maybe don't know all of the improvisation you guys do with the different plays that are going on, the different jokes that happen. And to even see something like, oh, weird, Eggman, who I put on my team, he's been kicked out over a political issue about toilet paper. Like, what? And it can just pull people back in to be like, whoa, what's going on? How is this going to affect my team?
Right. And it also maybe prevents, you know, if a scandal affects like a team that's playing really, really well, and maybe it prevents them from like running away with things and constantly winning, maybe that there could be something that hampers them for their matchup, for a matchup that like, oh shit, like now they're at more risk of losing because they have this scandal put on them.
Yeah,
I kind of I like that as a randomization factor. So one thing that I really wanted to talk about and that I wanted to bring to the table here, I love a lot of what we do in terms of having our friends take on the responsibility of the teams and like pick the team that we made and then draft the team, and then we go ahead and we stat them. I have thought about the way that we've been doing the stats and how we've been kind of in charge of managing offense, defense, ball handling, and kind of giving our input of like where people want to be at in terms of the offense, defense, ball handling. A big part of me is not really, or no longer is a fan of assigning the stats without the consultation of the people that draft them. Because I think one thing that happened last year was we had people pick specific players because they feel like they best fit those positions, and we would look at it and we would implement like, what's the best story that can be told with this pairing, and what's the best way that we could go ahead about telling the story of this team with the way that this person drafted it. And I feel like that's fun, but I would love to have someone else have a say in how those stats end up working out. Specifically, like, if a person really wants their team to be offensive focused or defensive focused, I would love them to have a say in that. And even going as far as them being present as we're statting them, and I would love to have people like say like, oh, I'm not as big of a fan of this, or not, I really, really like this as an idea. Like, I want to work with, because the way I see it, I love the idea of making this league not as much of a competition, but more of what happens if we have 8 players in a role-playing game. They want to create the best character they want to bring to the table. They want to bring a character to the table that they're proud of and they're excited to play. it would be kind of fucked if like the DM to like take their character sheet and be like, well, actually, your character is bad at this and bad at this and bad at that. I kind of want the general managers to have more control over their team as a whole, so that way once we actually end up go and play the games, the vision that player may have for their team is well implemented into the game, and at the end of the day, let the dice decide how the games end up going as well. And I'm just curious, Matt, from your perspective as someone who's running the games with me, but also from Walsh, your perspective as a general manager, what would be your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure, honestly.
So talk to me. Walk me through it. What's going through your mind as I've talked? Because I know I'm rambling a bit, and I'm trying to explain my thought process well, but it's sometimes a little bit hard for me, especially because I'm a little scatterbrained at the moment. But
so do you want this to be more of a role play thing, less of a game thing?
In a way of. I want it to be. I like it being a competition.
Yeah.
But I just want the players that end up drafting these teams to have more of a say at what happens to their teams.
Gotcha.
A little bit. Not so much in, again, the dice roll is going to be the dice rolls. It's just going to happen that randomization people would have to, that's what the game. That's the game. But I feel like in the actual stat assigning and how things go, I would like to see maybe people be more involved in that process if they want to.
Yeah,
if they don't want to, if it's something where like I don't really care how my team performs, I'm just doing this, I'm having a good time, I am totally fine with us taking that mantle.
You said a lot of words for, hey, we should invite the GMs to do the stats with us.
You know what? You're absolutely fucking right. Because I'm trying to say it as delicately as possible without being like, "Oh, man, we have taken a lot of control over this league," and I don't want to I don't want it to make it seem like I don't want to take too much control away from people if they want a little bit more control of how their team performs. And so if you're down for that, I'm down for that. Walsh, if you're, I know you stepped away for a second, but okay, you're back. For you, like, does that sound good to you? Like, in terms of like, hey, getting you more involved in the actual stat assigning. Do you like that idea?
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. Well, because how do you guys usually do it? You would sit down for like an episode and do it, right?
Yeah, last year we didn't end up even doing episodes. We ended up doing all of it off camera. But this year, I mean, if we want to give more time and breathing, and especially now since we're going to try to do a lot of the prep during the season, during the NFL season, and like I don't have a specific start date for season 3 yet, so I don't want to implement a start date. Honestly, I kind of just want to like make it so that way we feel as comfortable as possible with moving forward with actually like playing the games. So we have all the time in the world to figure out like how we want to go about stat assigning and drafting and all that stuff. So for you, like you're into that idea then of being part of that process and being on the episodes, baby.
Yeah, I think that would be great, and I think a lot of people would probably like that. I think that, maybe you'll have certain managers that like, I don't really feel like coming on the show, and maybe you can give them that option. Do you want to come on the show and discuss it? Do you want 100%. To discuss it off the air, or do you just want to let us do it? I think that for maybe people like me, I will say like, oh, I like having I like having a little bit of say. And I like being able to be, because I think I care a lot about my team and can be a little bit competitive in that way too.
Yeah.
But so maybe I would want to come on and have like a little bit of a say, and maybe you guys are like, oh, this character seems very tough. Let's make them defensive. And it's like, no, actually their thing is they're very quick, and maybe they can even defend or even give a little bit of a perspective on a character that you guys might not know enough about. Things like that,
100%. I think it would be great content. Obviously, yeah. The only thing is just the logistics of seeing how much we can get people on. But even if we end up just doing like, hey, whenever you're available, and we do like a bonus episode or something, and just like, hey, we just all come together, we just talk about your team for a little while. If everyone's on board with that, I'm down to implement that and have people get involved on that front.
Yeah, I think you bring on whoever wants to come on, whoever doesn't want to come on.
Exactly.
You don't have to have them on.
Yeah.
But they can still participate in however they'd like. Yeah. And if it's something where maybe you have a lot of people interested, maybe you split it up and you do different recording sessions. Maybe you do, here's 20 minutes of us sitting down with Kelsey and talking about their team, and then here's 20 minutes of us sitting down with Matt Walsh and talking about his team.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the kind of idea that I would love to implement. One last thing for me, unless Matt, did you have anything that you had in particular in mind coming into this conversation?
One minor small thing. We let people know, hey guys, we want you to like do the team how you want. We want you to enjoy it. But holy shit, like we need to at least have some fucking idea who these people are. Because mainly there's two culprits, one of whom is not like going to be an issue now. But I have no fucking idea who. I had maybe an idea who one person on Anthony's team was, and they were the fucking champions. So like, if they could like pick ones that we would be familiar with, that would be appreciated. But that's
I'm down for that. I also I don't know if I want to necessarily limit who people can draft.
I'm still not convinced that Kane and Armor King are different people.
The problem is I'm the problem. I'm the biggest problem of all of us. Because I outside of video games, I'm shit at knowing people. And so I don't want to I wouldn't want to like restrict people to draft who they want. If my dumbass doesn't know who the fuck they are, I'm willing to learn and kind of get an understanding of who they might be. I'm with you though, where it's like,
when Jess's team is like 8 identical anime boys.
Like I think it's like, see if you can get some variety and see if you can include, like, if you know that me or Matt are gonna know someone, like, and like maybe see if you could prioritize that. I don't think I want to do like clamp on restriction. You can't pick anyone that we don't know, but just don't make it overwhelming. Like we would prefer to have at least a good amount of players that like, we know what these characters are, we know what they do. Like I'm definitely into that idea, for sure.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think it's like a totally unfair ask. I think that you guys offer a variety of knowledge between the two of you, between video games and animation.
Sure.
Maybe like, and I even think like Matt, you cover like a good amount of like, base anime stuff as well.
If it is Yu Yu Hakusho or Full Metal Alchemist, I got you. If it's a relatively well known anime that I can I can gather who Luffy is, I got you.
Right.
I cannot. I do not know. Like I cannot. I still don't know which anime Psyche is from. Because there were like 5 of them that were all very similar, and I couldn't keep them straight.
Yeah, that's totally fair. So one more thing I wanted to talk about before we move on to back to the reality of the NFL. God, I love being in the view in comparison. So over the way that this whole thing started was us picking random towns and assigning them a football team. And I love that. I love that concept a lot. That said, what I had so much fun with last year, and specifically the playoffs, and this was your idea, Matt, of let's put them in a video game scenario this is just a random video game scenario that we have not seen in the season yet, and let's put them in this scenario and let's have them let's have them play with satanic goats on the football field or whatever the fuck the scenario was. It was so much fun. Another thing that I feel like would be fun from the perspective of getting people involved in this in the making of this league, in the building of season 3, I would love to get people involved in like the actual team making as well, like who the team is. Now we could continue to have it where we pick a random town in the US and go from there, or we could have it where they're in and I think this is something that Walsh suggested last year too, where we just have a football team based in a fictional world. Like I don't know, I feel like that's something that I would find a lot of fun to kind of play with and see where it could go. I'm curious where you're at with that, Matt.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I think that one of the fun things about making the teams for me is just discovering weird shit about the towns that they're from, and like not all towns are bangers. Like we got War Train, which is one of our best names ever, but that was not because of Brookings. Like
no, not at all.
There's only like you can only get so many Nutfellows. You can only like get the place where Mr. Peanut was created once.
Exactly.
But I do enjoy the thrill of finding shit out about towns and flexing our creative muscles for like how can we make a team out of this is one of my favorite parts of doing this, and then just seeing the concoctions that we made, where if we do more fictional stuff, I don't know if we can get like as creative with the team names, because I think a lot of general team names would be pretty obvious. I think
100%. I get
that would be my only concern. I'm not wholly against it. We could do it for a season for sure. Like it's like, okay, this is the fictional world season, but I do like the like finding out weird shit about random towns, because then also when I see those towns in the news or for anything else, I'm like, hey. Like, Ineka from this season of Survivor was from Weatherford, Texas. Right, so I was like, hey, I know that place.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I think that the idea of the fictional worlds, here's what I'm thinking. I think we keep, I like the idea of keeping the town, what we've been doing with making the teams, keep making the games of, hey, here is a town, a random town. Let's do some research on it. Let's come up with a creative name for it. If we could get people involved in that process, like last year, Gabe with Astral Gator coming out with that was fucking amazing. Like, I would love to get more people involved in that process, but I'm cool with keeping it as it is in terms of town, finding town, assigning a mascot to it. I think what would be cool is having people. We've had them draft football, like actual footballs. It would be fun to have them draft football, like football stadiums, or like location, or not even stadiums, but like locations where you want to see the team actually play. Because last year we had it where each team had a specific game world that they were in. I'm
totally down for that.
And so like maybe that is a similar thing but this time we put it in the hands of the people who end up taking on the team and be like, hey, I would love to see my home football games played in this universe, or something like that. I feel like that could be a lot of fun, but we could keep the town and mascot thing. Walsh, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I do like that. I do, when you guys are making the teams in terms of town, in terms of idea, I definitely want it to be like out of the players' hands. You know what I mean?
You are stuck with the Nutfellows. You must be the Nutfellows.
It is like here is the list of who you could pick from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm into that. I am down to then keep the process the way it is in terms of the making of the town, but maybe just give more leeway to like, hey, what universe would you like to see your home games made?
Yeah.
And then do a similar thing with when we get to the playoffs and have it be, let's just randomize the shit out of it, neutral field in a new universe. I'm into that. All right. I think we have the game plan for the upcoming VBBFL, and we can start as soon as next week in terms of building these fucking towns if we want to. So I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. Like maybe not next week. Next week's our mid-season special.
Yes,
but
mid-season special we cannot override.
Yeah, but like maybe the weeks following, I would be super down for that. Walsh, you're gonna stick around for the picks, but I want to thank you for joining us for the for that discussion and helping us kind of sort through all that, and for your suggestion of the scandal table, because that is, the more I think about it, that's gonna have so much fun implementation, I think.
I think so too. I think it'll be really funny.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get back to the NFL. Let's talk about Week 9. Last week, I'm like, let's talk about now. But last week, both me and Matt went 9-6. But the difference was I did not get my guarantee or my chaos for the first time since Week 1.
Woo!
Oh my goodness!
That was a good streak that I was on, at least getting one every single week. But it ended in Week 8 for me with the Raiders-Panthers falling apart. So, as things stand right now, I'm at a 72-50 record with 22 points. Matt, you're at a 70-52 record with 15 points.
You're pulling ahead.
Actually, you closed the gap in this week.
Oh, I did?
Because,
did I not listen?
Because you had you got an extra point because I fumbled my guarantee in
Gotcha.
chaos. So you're okay. You're good. You're staying close in this.
I'm here for a good time.
But for now, exactly.
Not a good time.
For now, we're gonna start off our picks, and again, Walsh is gonna join us. He's gonna pick these games. He has no idea what's happening, or maybe he does, and he's just been hiding it this whole time. Philadelphia Eagles at the Houston Texans. It's Thursday Night Football game with the best team in the league facing maybe the worst team in the league, maybe ahead of the Lions, but I actually feel like the Texans are worse still. Matt, what do you say about this one?
I don't know how the Eagles lose a game the rest of the season. Like they'll probably lose one.
Sure.
But they face a lot of easy fucking teams.
Yep.
And they're really good on offense, and they just got better on defense, and they're a really good football team. Eagles. EAGLES Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going Eagles as well. I just feel very confident in. I do not feel. I feel good about the flying Eagles and not the flying Lovie Smiths. That's just
Lovie,
where I'm at.
Listen, I know I've said this before. I have been around enough Lovie Smith coached football teams. I know
how it ends.
I know how it works. It's not pretty.
Walsh, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Which one's the good one?
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
The Eagles. I think they're gonna lose.
Okay. Get their first loss of the season.
Yeah. The team that has not lost yet. I think this is gonna.
Hold on. Why the fuck is Ron DeSantis calling me?
Wait, what? Why do you have him as a contact in your phone?
I don't. The caller ID says it has the number and then it says Ron DeSantis.
Because I'm making things happen.
Oh my god. I mean, clearly he needs your support all the way in Illinois as a Florida governor. But anyways, what's the next game look like about?
Speaking of Ron DeSantis, the Miami Dolphins take on the Chicago Bears.
You skipped one, but that's okay. We can go back
sure
to
did.
it.
Los Angeles Chargers take on the Atlanta Falcons. Chargers coming off of their bye, losing a lot of receivers. They're missing a lot of them. Versus the Falcons, who just barely squeaked by the Panthers. Will the Chargers be able to overcome their receiver deficit to take down the Falcons?
That is a concern. This is a hard one to pick. I don't know, man. This Falcons team is so fucking annoying. I hate picking their games. I'm gonna pick the Chargers because they're coming off of a bye. I feel like that does play a little bit into a factor of like maybe being able to kind of rest a little bit. The receiver thing is a problem. I'm just gonna put my faith behind the Chargers, and maybe I shouldn't, but I hate both of them. I hate this game.
I also hate this game. I'm gonna pick the Chargers as well, but it is not gonna be pretty. Right. Not gonna be pretty.
Walsh, what about you?
Well, you know me, I'm an LA devotee now, so I gotta go Chargers.
There you go. Next up is the Miami Dolphins at the Chicago Bears. The Dolphins and Bears have, I believe that wasn't this like the 85 season that these two teams faced each other and it was a big fucking deal.
Probably something like that.
Yeah, I would say that's like the history of these two teams facing each other. Anyways, Dolphins on a 2-game streak. Bears looked really good the week before, and then kind of floundered a bit against the Cowboys, but they still played well on offense. What do you think is going to happen?
There were like one or two like flood plays that the Bears had that was like there's no way this is like standard or relevant.
Right.
I do not think that this is going to be a blowout by the Dolphins. I think that Dolphins just got Bradley Chubb, sure, but the Dolphins defense is still like pretty vulnerable, so I think it will be close. 100%. I am picking the Dolphins, but it's not like the Dolphins are gonna smash this one.
Right? Yeah, no, me too. I agree. I'm picking the Dolphins as well. Matt, what about you, Walsh?
M-I-A-M-I, running out of time. We gotta go. I know. Miami, baby. M-I-A-M-I.
All right, awesome. Next up, Europe, I think.
Next up, Carolina Panthers take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals getting embarrassed in primetime. Carolina getting embarrassed by a missed field goal kick. Carolina playing frisky. Will they be able to take down the Bengals, who have been struggling without Jamar Chase?
It is super enticing. I guess for me, I just still think the Bengals can overcome this. I like the Panthers a lot. It's just it's just hard for me to completely, fully trust this team yet. They did play the Falcons close. They did beat down the Bucks, and maybe the Bengals are in a similar situation where the Bucks are at right now, where the offensive line's a problem. Defense is not playing all that great either. These games are too close. I'm picking the Bengals though.
I'm gonna pick the Bengals as well. It's close. Like I think that the Panthers again stand a chance, but Bengals should bounce back at home.
And Walsh.
Oh, there's two cats.
It's cat bowl.
I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
Let's go.
Good pick.
It's a good pick. Good pick indeed. Next up, the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. Lions are really rough right now, but the Packers, they're also on their own losing streak at the moment. Matt, can you have any faith in the Lions to take down your hated Packers?
I do not. I think this will be the Packers' last stand until maybe the Bears of a game that they can win. I think that the only wins that the Packers will have the rest of the season are going to be against the Lions, who they play twice, because they have the Cowboys, the Titans, the Eagles, the Bears, the Rams, the Dolphins, the Vikings.
Yeah,
like
100%.
The Packers are not going to go to the playoffs, but they will win this game.
Yeah, with the way that they have been playing, it definitely feels like that. I always just worry about that trapdoor, as I've talked about, but luckily it didn't really happen too much last week. So, I am with you. I'm going to pick the Packers. I do think that this is a win for them. But Lions, man, you play so well at home consistently. You need to close these games.
Yep.
And I think that's why I'm gonna go with the Lions. They're gonna surprise you.
Let's do it. Next up, I think you're up, man.
Yes, I am. Indianapolis Colts versus the New England Patriots. Colts started out Sam Ehlinger. Didn't go the best, but played Washington pretty close. And New England Patriots bounced back against the Jets. What do you think is going to happen in this matchup?
I think the Patriots, both teams are dealing with quarterback weirdness right now. But something about with the Patriots winning over the Jets on Sunday kind of gave me a look into what the formula will be for them to actually win some games. Obviously, the running game's going to play a factor, and the defense that has been trying to get better here and there. There's a path to victory here for the Patriots, especially against the Colts team that has not been doing very well either. So I'm going Patriots.
Yeah, the Colts feel like a disaster to me right now, and the Patriots defense, despite being embarrassed by the Bears, and again, I think the Bears have actually figured it out.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Patriots. I'm also going to guarantee the Patriots in this matchup. I feel pretty
Very
confident
nice.
that they'll beat the Colts.
Yeah,
Not too badly. Walsh?
Yep. Walsh.
Still don't know what a cult is.
I forgot about that.
I'm gonna have to go with the Patriots, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
By the way, I think
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
given up on the King's Hawaiian $1 Million Showdown because they stopped trying to give sandwiches to every team.
Right. So they're just like, all right, I guess Colts Patriots
Yeah.
is the showdown this week. I don't fucking know. Who knows? All right.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches. I have not eaten it in like 6 or 7 hours, so I need to keep going here. The Bills at the Jets. Man, this fucking Jets team. You want them to succeed. You want them to finally overcome their demons, but Zach Wilson single-handedly feels like he's holding this team back at this point, and it's not going to help that they're facing the Bills this week. Matt, where are you at?
Bills.
Walsh?
You know what? I'll go as far as to guarantee the Bills.
Hey,
Hey.
awesome. I was not even going to ask you for a guarantee or chaos, but I'll write it down.
Let's see if it's a
anyway.
legal guarantee.
Probably not, but I'll allow it for Walsh.
What does that mean, a legal guarantee?
Oh, it is absolutely not a legal guarantee.
So it's point spreads. They Las Vegas has how many points? I don't know.
So
I'm
the
probably not
best way
gonna
to think
explain
about
this
it is there's a betting line of people make bets in terms of how badly will teams get beaten. So for example, if there's a 3-point spread, it means that Team A will beat Team B by 3 points. Chris and I limit our guarantees to games with a 7-point spread or lower. This is a 12.5 point spread.
But again,
But for you, it's fine.
I will allow it.
Yeah.
I will allow it because also those spreads have happened and the other team ends up winning anyway. So it's the guarantees. It's totally fine. But yes, I'm going Bills as well.
All right, next up, Minnesota Vikings take on the Washington Commanders. Washington with a nice victory. Minnesota's still looking really good. Their only loss is to the undefeated Eagles. They just picked up TJ Hawkinson. I think that they are really strong. They're a really consistent team, able to defeat the rising Arizona Cardinals. Will they be able to repeat it against the Commanders?
The Commanders are never a team I want to root for, as at least as long as Dan Schneider is the one at the helm of the owner of being
Dan Schneider?
Dan Snyder. Chris keeps
Snyder.
saying Schneider. They're both awful people, but there is a difference. Dan Snyder. Dan Schneider is the
Snyder.
Nickelodeon guy.
Listen, it is they're you can understand my confusion in some ways. I'm pretty sure I have like a short attention span and just forget to correct my pronunciation. Anyways, I'm picking the Washington Commanders in a team chaos scenario.
Really?
Because I feel like this Vikings team has not shown me at all. They're again, I talked about the Giants in this way. They've played every game super close. That Cardinals game, the Cardinals were playing so terribly, and yet the Vikings barely won. And it's like, at some point, I feel like they're going to be taken down by a team that doesn't deserve to actually win that game. I think that the Commanders could do it. They have a hot hand in Heineke at the moment. They've been playing very well the last few weeks. I don't really believe in this Vikings team.
I will
right
pick
now.
the Vikings and cheekily take these free points from you.
Fair enough.
I will pick the Vikings, and that is my chaos guarantee.
Sure. I'll write down chaos.
Guaranteed chaos.
Guarantee chaos
Yeah.
as well, right down there. Okay. Anyways, Raiders at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, the Jags, they should have home advantage and feel like, hey, we're in London, we could beat anyone. They couldn't even fucking beat the Broncos. But the Raiders, on the other hand, couldn't even score a point against the New Orleans Saints. Both of these teams are reeling. What the fuck should I even think about this matchup, Matt?
I think that nobody should watch it out of protest.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I'm gonna,
Totally valid.
I'm gonna pick the Jaguars.
All right,
I don't like.
I'll defer.
I don't like the pick. I'm picking the Jaguars.
Yeah, me either. I'll defer on the Raiders. I'll go Raiders. What about you?
I'm picking the Raiders.
Okay.
Cool. All right. This is a better matchup than it should be. Seattle Seahawks defeated the New York Giants, are one of the best teams in the league right now, ahead in their division. First place in the division, led by Geno Smith, take on the Arizona Cardinals, who just got DeAndre Hopkins back, meaning their offense is looking pretty decent again. Do the what is going to happen between the two bird teams?
Wait, it's Seahawks versus who?
The Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, man. Seahawks are going to take it.
You taking the Seahawks? I will as well. I'm taking the Seahawks because I think that they are a really good football team with one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Geno Smith. And if you were to tell me that that was the scenario come week 9, I would tell you you're absolutely insane. But here we are.
I agree with that. I absolutely do. I really like what the Seahawks are doing this season. I'm team chaosing the Cardinals. I think their offense has some life, and they could do something.
Sure.
So
sure, that's fair.
Again, like Seahawks who totally won. This is not a condemnation on the Seahawks. This is just like, hey, this is a scenario I could see happen.
Yeah, totally fair, totally valid. Next up is the LA Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. On paper, this game, oh man, a rematch of one of the best playoff games from last year. Oh man, the Rams Buccaneers, Super Bowl contenders. But things are not working out for either of these teams right now, and it's hard to pick this game. It's hard to pick a lot of these games this week. But where are you at, Matt?
I don't know, because I have the Rams selected here, right? Mm-hmm. I have them selected because I'm thinking, okay, they're probably the better team overall. You know, Shaq Barrett went down on the Buccaneers, but Cooper Kupp may not be at 100%, and he's like the only thing on that offense.
Right.
But Brady is washed on the Buccaneers. Their offensive line is washed. So like Aaron.
So is Stafford though.
But so is Stafford. But then you got Aaron Donald, who's gonna fucking like he's gonna give Tom Brady so many hugs. But then you got Tampa Bay's defense. It's hard. I'm going to pick the Rams. It's close.
It's close. I am going to defer. I'm going with I'm going with the Bucks here. I'm with you in that I am not in any way confident about that. It is at this point I'm looking at both of these teams and see that they are all completely not in a good position at all.
It's Rams versus who?
The Buccaneers.
Buccaneers, the pirate flag.
No, that's the Raiders.
No, that's the Buccaneers.
There's two
pirate
There's two
teams.
pirates. Buccaneers is the one with the red flag. And the Rams has LA and then like the weird circle around it.
Well, the Buccaneers are going to be the ones with the white flag because the Rams are going to take it.
Oh yeah, you're an LA homer now.
No, I hate LA. I hate to admit, I think the Rams are going to take it.
There you go. Yeah, I'm going to go Bucks just because there's really no reason, honestly. I think it is just I am a home believer, and when it's a matchup like this, I'm picking the home team, and that's just where it's at the moment.
All right, Kansas City Chiefs take on the Tennessee Titans. Both teams at 5-2. Both teams at the head, at the front of their division could not be farther apart from
100%.
Reality right now. What these two teams are like. Who do you think is going to win, Chris? Sunday Night Football, by the way.
Yeah, Sunday Night Football. Tannehill, I think, is expected back in this game. That said, it's tough, man, because Derrick Henry has also had moments against this Chiefs team. The Titans have had a lot of luck against the Chiefs in the regular season. That said, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Oh, by the way, I think I forgot to say I'm guaranteeing the Seahawks.
Oh, a super fucko.
So we have a super fucko.
Yes.
Our first super fucko of the season.
Woo!
So that's that. But anyways, I was like, who did I guarantee again? I'm gonna go. I am not guaranteeing the Chiefs, but I'm gonna pick them in this match.
I actually was going to guarantee the Chiefs, then I saw their point spread, which is really high. So I'm just gonna regular pick the Chiefs.
It's weird that it's that high.
It is
like
being 10 points. That is weird. Yeah.
That feels like a lot. Chiefs Titans. Walsh.
I think I'm gonna have to go with the Titans because I don't like that they're ripping off Master Chief.
God damn it.
Yep.
I legitimately thought they were gonna be like because they're ripping off of native culture and that's a problem.
That too, I guess. which is the joke, but
Anyways, finally closing things out here. It's Baltimore Ravens at New Orleans Saints on Monday night. Saints showed some promise last week. Ravens also won their game. What do you think's gonna happen in this matchup?
I think the Ravens are going to do it. I think they will.
I think they're going to kiss. I think.
Mm-hmm.
What? I think that. I think the Ravens are going to. The Ravens.
Yeah. I too will go with the Ravens, and they will smooch the Saints. Under the mistletoe, because it's Christmas season, baby. Fuck Thanksgiving. It's Christmas. Let's go.
Giddy up.
Oh man. Anyways, I like Thanksgiving. I'm not one of these.
Thanksgiving is allowed to exist solely because of Thanksgiving break. Exactly. Lord, I need that break.
Right. That's the thing. You're in education, so it's like. That is a.
But I'm not gonna put up Thanksgiving decorations. Are you fucking kidding me? It can exist. It can exist without us having to decorate and celebrate it.
I think there's some fall leaf things we could put up.
Right. It's bleed over from October. You can do it both.
Yeah,
you can do it both.
This is Nightmare Before Christmas time.
Right. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, that is the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. Awesome shit. This was a great episode. I enjoyed the hell out of this, of picking games and also talking about VBBFL. I feel really good about what we're going to do for this season. I'm excited to start making the teams. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, Walsh, thank you so much for sitting in on this. I know you have work very soon, so I want to get you off the podcast.
It's all good. If anybody at home has ideas for scandals that you'd love to see used, go ahead and tweet them at me. And
or Virtual Ball Boys.
Virtual Ball Boys. Walsh, drop your handle. They don't know who you are.
Oh, you can at me at Walsh Animation on Twitter. Or you can or if the boys here, if you guys have ideas, let me know.
Yeah, I'll send them your way.
I'm gonna start making that table for you.
Also, we haven't really addressed this aspect of things. Twitter's become kind of a hellscape. It's always been a hellscape, but especially now with the way things are happening, I'm trying to kind of weed my how much I'm on Twitter on a consistent basis, and I'm gonna keep on top of it with Virtual Ball Boys and stuff. But if anything changes in the future, we'll let you know. If there's maybe a new social media platform where you can contact us on or something, we'll figure that out in due time. We're gonna let the situation as things are unfolding kind of happen, and then we'll find our place. But best way you probably could get in touch with us, honestly. Here's what I'll do. Anchor allows people to kind of post polls and responses and questions for people to respond to. Use that as well. If you can't reach us on Twitter, send it through anchor.fm/virtualballboys. Or virtual-ball-boys. You should be able to send a response through that as well if I remember to set something up on that front.
Big balls, big boys.
Or send us an email at virtualballboys@gmail.com. I forgot that we also have that as well. All right.
We also have a Teamcast Productions Instagram that I forget to post on.
It's fine. You're valid. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. And we will see you next week.
Good night and good ball.
Good balls and good night.
This guy. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.